I never thought a simple yes could feel like signing a contract with guilt, but when I agreed to have dinner with my coworker, Ethan, I felt the first flicker of something I couldn't yet name. The day had started normally: emails, meetings, the usual small talk, but when he asked me out, there was an intensity in his eyes I couldn't ignore. I told myself it was harmless, that a friendly dinner wouldn't cross any lines. I had a boyfriend, of course, someone steady and reliable, someone who trusted me completely. But that night, as I watched Ethan smile across the table at the restaurant, something in me shifted, and the weight of secrecy settled in my chest like an anchor. We sat under the dim lights of the little Italian place he suggested. He was charming, effortlessly funny, and dangerously attentive. He remembered small details about me: my favorite wine, the way I preferred my pasta, the song I hummed the other day in the office. It shouldn't have mattered, but it did. Every laugh, every lingering glance, every accidental touch of his hand as we reached for the bread basket felt electrifying and wrong all at once. My phone buzzed on the table, a text from my boyfriend: "Hope your day's going well. Can't wait to see you tonight." My chest tightened. I replied with a smiley face, careful not to reveal anything. Ethan leaned in, and his voice was low, intimate, a whisper meant only for me. "You know, I've always wondered if there's more between us than just work." My stomach flipped. I told myself it was harmless flirting. Just words. Nothing more than words. But as the night went on, each joke and shared story felt like stepping closer to a line I wasn't sure I could see anymore. After dinner, he suggested a walk through the quiet streets near the river. The city lights reflected on the water, and the air smelled faintly of rain and something sweet. We talked about everything: life, ambition, dreams I hadn't shared with anyone. There was an intimacy in our conversation that made me feel guilty for enjoying it. I imagined my boyfriend at home, oblivious, trusting me, and a pang of shame twisted in my gut. But Ethan's hand brushed mine, and I didn't pull away immediately. My mind screamed stop, but my heart betrayed me with its quiet thrill. When he leaned closer, I caught myself hesitating. I thought about the promises I had made, the life I had built with someone who believed in me. Yet, every part of me wanted to lean in, to give in, to see what it would feel like to cross that invisible line. I reminded myself, this is wrong. You can't. And still, the temptation hovered in the air between us like a dangerous perfume. We laughed at a joke only we understood, and in that moment, the world shrank to just us. I thought I could handle it, that I could keep it purely as a connection of stolen words and fleeting moments. But as he looked into my eyes, I realized how fragile my control was. The night ended with a hug, awkward, lingering, but still innocent, or at least, that's what I tried to convince myself. When I walked back to my apartment, my phone buzzed again. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I miss you." The words stabbed me, a reminder that I was already betraying someone, even without admitting it. The next morning, Ethan texted again, casual, almost normal: "Last night was fun. We should do it again." I froze. My hand hovered over the keyboard. How could I respond without revealing too much? How could I admit that I was already tangled in emotions that didn't belong to me? My boyfriend, James, called just as I was drafting a reply. His voice was warm, loving. He had no idea. How could he? At work, Ethan found excuses to sit closer, to brush past my arm, to make small, charged comments that made my pulse race. I caught myself thinking about him when I shouldn't, imagining what it would be like if we gave in, and each thought made me feel like a traitor. I loved James, I truly did, and yet, Ethan's presence was like a shadow creeping into every corner of my mind. The tension became unbearable when Ethan invited me to a late-night meeting, supposedly to discuss a project. The office was empty, the city outside silent. He closed the door behind us, and suddenly the line I had been guarding felt miles away. His hand found mine again, and I pulled away sharply, panic flooding me. "We shouldn't," I whispered. But he smiled, a knowing, dangerous smile. "Just a little longer," he said. And in that moment, I realized how easily boundaries could dissolve when desire wrapped itself around reason. I left the office shaking, the memory of his touch burning in my mind. I called James, needing his voice to ground me, and when he answered, I broke down in whispers, not about Ethan, not about the dinner, but about how much I loved him, how much I feared crossing a line I couldn't take back. I didn't tell him the truth, how could I? I hung up, feeling both relief and guilt. Days passed, and I tried to regain control. I avoided Ethan, kept conversations strictly professional, reminded myself constantly that my heart belonged to James, that nothing was worth destroying the trust we had built. But the thrill lingered, the memory of last night's laughter, the intensity of our stolen glances, haunted me like a shadow I couldn't shake. Finally, Ethan sent a message that made my blood run cold. I can't stop thinking about you. Can we meet tonight? My hands trembled as I stared at the screen. I knew that saying yes would shatter everything I valued. Saying no would mean walking away from a dangerous temptation I couldn't forget. My heart ached, my mind raced, and for the first time, I truly understood how betrayal wasn't always about what you did, it was about what you were capable of doing, the choices hovering just beyond your grasp. That night, I made a choice. I called Ethan, my voice firm, steady, even as my chest heaved. I can't. We can't. This ends here. I hung up before he could protest, before I could second guess, before I could cross the line I had been teetering on for weeks. Later, I called James, holding the phone like a lifeline. I love you, I said, tears falling. I almost lost myself, but I didn't. I won't ever again. And in that moment, I realized that the line I had feared crossing wasn't just about Ethan, it was about myself, my integrity, and the life I had vowed not to betray. I never told James about the dinner, about the walks, or about Ethan's dangerous attention. He doesn't need to know. What matters is that I chose loyalty, that I stepped back from the edge before falling into a betrayal I could never undo. And as I lay awake that night, thinking of what might have been, I understood something painful and beautiful. Temptation can be seductive, but the true strength lies in walking away.